Yeah.
Till we get the Facebook show going.
Yeah, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So thank you so much again for your patience as we had a little break. As we said, we weren't really on holidays. There was still a lot of work going on behind the scenes. We had a family wedding here, and we're ramping up now to care for ageing parents. So there's a lot going on in our personal life, and rather than it affect our clients, we're making sure we've got more staff. Stu, who is our client liaison, he's stepping into a full-time role now, so he will be there and he'll be working with the clients through all of that. So
Yeah.
that's the personal update. So
hello, Facebook.
if you missed that part, Facebook, the first 4 minutes are on Instagram for later on.
Oh, we're only 4 minutes late. No, we're 15
like
minutes
that.
late.
Oh, well, if you do. That's holiday time still. All right, so let's get some questions going.
Yeah.
Someone said, how long does it take to build a tiny home? I think that, or I'm not sure if you meant how long is our queue to build one, or how long does the process take?
Yeah, okay. So the way our process will work is once you come on board with Havenwood and you actually secure a deposit in a tiny home with Havenwood, from the actual, once you actually put a deposit down, from there we can actually give you a confirmation of a start date. From the start date, we allocate 3 months for delivery from the actual start date. So once we give you the start date, and bear in mind, prior to Christmas, we only had the one assembly line going. At that point in time, we were sort of starting a new tiny house every 6 working days, and our start dates were out to about May this year. But now with that second assembly line started, which just basically started last week, going extremely well with the extra staff, the line up and running. So that's what that's going to do now, is bring all of those start dates forward. Can't give you any exact dates at this stage, but the people that are actually secured a Havenwood tiny home, their dates will ultimately be brought forward, but I'm not going to give you those dates right now until we see how the second assembly line's going. It is working really well at the moment with the extra staff. Everyone's jumping on board. It's going really well, so I'm pretty excited.
In saying that, the caveat is, for custom homes, it can go longer because you're choosing things that are not a standard finish.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things being built now that are very customised. So some of those builds are taking 6 months or more because they're so customised. They're taking time to look at their kitchen. They're going through changes. That goes back to the joinery company, comes back to us. It takes time. It's not like we're just made all the decisions and you're going through. So there's 2 different ways of building with us now. One is going for a standard build. It's in the system and it's done. You don't make any changes. The other one is a custom home. We will take our time with that. So if you have the time and you want something different, no problem, we can do both ways.
But just bear in mind, with the standard homes, we've got pre-ordered windows, we've got stock windows, stock trailers.
And that's why it's so fast.
Yeah, that's why. And stock kitchens. So they actually go through really quickly. So as soon as you start to customise a home, there's a third party involved, which is the kitchen company, window companies, and that just takes time.
Exactly. And we're at their mercy too. We've talked about this before.
Well, like the kitchen company, they actually closed up shop. They stopped taking orders in November last year.
Yes.
They closed down in 17th of December. They're not back in action. They've only just come back this week.
That's right. Yes.
So we've lost a whole month.
That's right. Well, nearly 2 months because they stopped taking any orders. They took a couple of hours. We said they were coming and they took them in so that they would be first in the queue when they came back. But we are, we're not a robotic company. We're still relying on people to do these things. Georgia said she loves the dance video. It helps to see how spacious the tiny homes are. Exactly. Maybe we should get a few people in there and have a rave? Is that what they're called? Rave party? And then you can see how big they are.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, immediately I took my boots off because we've got carpet in that specky. And so I took my boots off, but as you can see, I was still jumping around, still had my hat on.
Well, I tell you what, when you go to an expo and there's 30 people inside the tiny home, you can see how big they are then.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So they're really, really happy with the room and space.
Yes.
Because the homes are 3 metres wide and we're up to 4.6 metres high.
Yeah.
So it enables us. So within that envelope of 4.6 metres, being 300 millimetres higher than a standard tiny home, it gives us that 300 millimetres, just gives us that luxury of being able to give you the headroom that you need.
Yeah.
In actual fact, we've even got one going through.
Rave, I'm not sure what it's called.
Yeah.
Rage.
Rage party.
Rave.
Oh, you didn't say.
Is it a rage if it doesn't have drugs? It's a rage if there's drugs. I don't know. I'm too old. I don't know. I used to go to a disco. Do they have discos anymore? No.
We've actually got one.
Did you ever go to a blue light disco?
I went to B&S as that.
Blue light disco.
Oh no, that's
at
right.
school.
I went from blue light discos to
The police
B&S's.
club used to put on blue light discos.
Oh mate, I
Do you
love the blue
remember
lights.
them? They were great fun.
Yeah.
Is there anyone old enough to remember those? Anyway.
Probably not.
Yeah.
We're dinosaurs,
Oh,
mate.
goodness. Okay.
Okay,
We've
crack
got
into
some
some
questions. All
Right,
right.
let's go.
So a couple of big ones. One that Tara, who's building with us, she wants you to talk about, just to make it out there so they can keep looking back at this, the building compliance, how to get a tiny house done as a permanent place of residence through council.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's criteria. Obviously, you've got to meet the Building Code of Australia with whether it be a home or a tiny home. There's certain elements that you've got to comply with to actually be approved as a house on a block of land.
Yes.
Size doesn't matter. The only time size will come into play is if you buy a block of land in a new estate. There may be a covenant put on that site by the developers that says your home's got to be a certain size.
Yeah.
That's something you really need to look at. So if you want to put a Havenwood tiny home on a block of land as an approved house, you just got to check to see if there's any covenants being placed on the land or restrictions.
And then there's building conditions. So the building code has certain sizes of rooms, certain size of your bathroom.
The main thing is headrooms.
The step treads have a certain...
Step treads, the going and the step tread heights need to be complied with. Window sizes, ventilation. So there's not only for the light coming into the room, but then it's also the ventilation coming into the room. So there's lots of different things that you've got to comply
alarms,
with.
like all the things that you have in a house. There's certain things like that. So an architect would know those things, so they would know. And one of our houses tiny homes has been approved as a permanent place of residence. So the design, it doesn't matter if it's, how many square metres was it? 30
odd square metres.
30 odd square metres.
35,
it was classed as a room.
Yeah.
It wasn't 3 rooms. It was a room, 1 room.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
That's how, and then it has to be put on foundations.
Yeah.
So
the trailer's got to be removed. And this is
removed.
where I guess Havenwood has that.
That's our design. That's our registered design to be able to remove the trailer
from
underneath.
Yeah,
so
because you cannot get a caravan approved as a principal place of residence. Okay, so which means there can't be any trailer. You've got to just have the tiny home itself, which can be put on then stilts, piers or whatnot. Yeah.
So a granny flat or a skid steer type home, those things can be done as permanent homes. It's just your architect has to do that work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other big thing too with homes these days, they've got to be compliant with an R rating. So that's on the walls and the roof. They've got to come up with a specific R rating. Now that's to do with thermal insulation and also acoustic insulation. So lots of things come into play when you get a home approved as a house. It's not just draw up a stick drawing, bung it on and she'll be right, mate. It's all the insulation qualities of the home. Now, Havenwood homes, because of our methodical way that we build, so in other words, the mechanical way they're actually built.
Yes,
the
so
R rating,
the BASICS report.
The BASIC report, yeah. So we come up with an R.
Yes.
You can come up with an R3 rating on the walls and the roof, which is more than compliant with the BCA. Oh, the LEP, LEP, Local Environment
the
Management
BASICs and
for sure.
All right. There's all these letters. The COD and the DGA. Okay, tell me more about that unusual model you put up on your page.
Ooh.
The little sneaky picture.
Oh, yeah, we just bung a little one up there.
The igloo. Everyone's calling it the igloo.
Igloo.
Or a yurt. I heard that too.
Yeah.
Looks like a yurt.
If
you haven't seen it, have a look.
Yeah, check out our page. It's actually designed to look as close as possible to a glamping tent. Those that have heard the word glamping tent, you'll think of a canvas tent that looks like a South African sort of, what do they call them? Is it African sort of tent?
Safari tent.
It's a safari tent, yeah, right. Safari tent, sort of hexagonal sort of shape. So what we've done is tried to, as much as possible, recreate that same shape, but rather than just being a canvas structure, our glamping tent is actually 75mm refrigeration panel structure. So this thing is just bulletproof. Like the insulation quality is obviously second to none, and then it's being clad then with the Luca Bond. So which is a 6mm matte insulation. Looks fantastic. Loving the look of it. Looks fantastic. So over the coming maybe next week or so, we'll give you a couple more glimpses of how that's taken shape.
So
but
again,
really
this is a new design that we've actually registered. We've registered this design, so and it's been accepted. So it's the first one of its kind. So it's pretty exciting. So
I think we had a
different.
brainstorming session over a couple of ales. I think that night we come up with that design, did we? I don't know what you're thinking. You're a bit kinky, Dar. Oh, Dad. Oh, you ready for this? So this glamping tent's actually got a toilet, refrigerator, vanity inside the toilet, tiny home. It's got a floating bed with LED lighting underneath it. Interior finish is...
We're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you.
Not going to tell you that.
We'll just show you.
But out on the
give
deck...
away too much.
Are you ready for this? Out on the deck. I can tell them that. Cast iron, claw, foot, bath, out on the deck, copper fittings, shower.
Yeah. So this is this is a week. This is geared to the B&B market.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is going to go in the wineries and on farms and things, so you can go and stay in them and have a lovely weekend away with no children. Maybe that's what I was talking about, wanting a weekend away without the kids. That might have been it. So yeah, but it's movable, so you don't have to. It's on a trailer, yes,
It's on a trailer.
And that's the design. Is that it's a permanent tent look on a trailer, so you can literally move it around. If you're in a resort style farm, or you've got a B&B, or you've got a farm stay, you'll be able to get these and
Just
you'll be able
around.
to move it around. So
it's on a 7.2 by 3.5. So we've maxed out the oversized load limit. Okay, it's right out to 3.5.
yeah, because it isn't a caravan.
No,
this is not a caravan.
No, it's just it'll just be an oversized
load.
Yeah. 4.6 metres high. So the peak of that tiny home, it's 4.6 metres high. So it's high. It's big.
So there you go.
Huge.
Wait to see what that looks like inside. It's very exciting. We might do a giveaway for a weekend when that's all up and running. What shows will you be exhibiting at this year?
Oh, we've got a fairly full schedule this year. Lots going on.
I haven't got the dates in front of me, but I roughly know. So all of the tiny home expos this year, except for Toowoomba.
Yeah, we're not going to go to
So
Toowoomba.
we'll be at Geelong in March.
Yep.
We will be in the Hawkesbury in May, and we will be in Brisbane late September, early October. And we'll also be out at Mudgee in July just because we love it.
Yeah.
And we want to go and see Sandra at the Farmyard Nursery because she's so cool. And she has great animals. So we just love going out there. And like, honestly, if you're looking for a weekend away and you really want to support the regional areas, go to the Mudgee Field Day or a regional field day and make a weekend of it. It is so fun. So... And come say
I'm looking forward to the Melbourne show. I haven't been down to Melbourne. We haven't
been
exhibited
to
in
Melbourne
Victoria,
before.
have we?
No.
Yeah. So that'll be exciting.
We're not sure what we're taking down there. We don't know yet.
Maybe the glamping tent.
Maybe.
Or maybe the new specky that we've just built.
Libby wants to know what we'll have at Geelong. We're not sure yet what we'll have. It will depend on what stock we have, really.
Yeah.
If we've got another spec build available or... Yeah, so it's just what we've got on hand, and we'll take it down.
And ultimately what we take down to that show will be saleable.
It's for sale. It will be for sale.
Yeah.
Yes. Is that model you had with the bump out a standard one? So.
Oh yes, that'll be
just
Jess's.
been put up.
Yeah, that'll be Jess's. That's actually an 8.2 metre tiny home. The base model, or the base of it, is an 8.2 metre home, 3 metres wide. And we've got a 1 metre bump out for the master bedroom. So the master bedroom is actually 4 metres by 3 metres. Massive, massive room upstairs. That takes the total length of the tiny home to 9.2 metres long.
Yeah.
So the drawbar, so basically the bump out is overhanging the drawbar. The back of our truck's obviously lower. It's not a fifth wheeler, but it looks a bit like a fifth wheeler.
Yeah.
So the bump out section goes over the top of the back of our truck.
Yep.
So when we turn in corners and stuff, it's not going to hit the back of the truck. So yeah, it's a huge home. It's going to be great. We've got to be bringing our weighbridge in once we get all the kitchens and wardrobes and cupboards and vanities and stuff into the tiny home before they're installed. We're actually going to get the mobile weighbridge in and weigh the home. We're going to see where the actual overall weight comes in at, because we're maxed out here. Like this is pushing the boundaries.
So we may have to bring some drawers.
Some of the cabinetry probably will have to be installed on site.
Yeah.
So, and they'll just go in the back of the truck. So we won't know that until we get
It's
the
the
weight
biggest one
regime.
we've done.
It's the biggest, I guess, in volume.
Yes.
In volume, it's the
Yes,
biggest
because
home
there's a
we've done.
lot of cabinetry in this.
A lot of cabinetry as well. And
yes.
of course, we're using the ProLite kitchens.
Yeah.
But Tom, you add it all up, it's just sheer volume.
A couple of things that we've been toing and froing over Christmas, mainly for our either new clients or existing clients. We're not going to offer washing machines and fridges anymore. The reason for that is that we've had a couple of washing machines, but they get put in on site, like unplugged, put in, and then they're not working. So, you're in Victoria, South Australia, up in Cairns, you're in all these places, and or the fridge on the back of the truck gets a knock, so there's a dent in the door, and then so that. It's like when you buy a house, you've got to put all your own appliances in. We'll still put the oven and the cooktop and all of that in, but the washing machine and the fridge, it's something you can get locally, so we're just going to leave that because it's too hard for us to try to replace it when it's so far away.
Yeah,
and
we've had like 2 warranty jobs.
2 washing machines have not worked.
Yeah, and it's just a pain, and it lets the client down, it lets us down.
It's on the supplier.
Of course, we get the warranty. It's no problem with the warranty, but it's just
a
the hassle of it all, you know. So that's
so there's
what
that.
we're doing.
And the
that
other
this
thing,
year.
we're just having a look at our pricing structure. So I don't know if the pages are live at the moment, so we're going to be taking those down. What we did do prior to Christmas was add a lot of things in as standard, and then we thought we shot ourselves in the foot a bit. And the reason we thought that was because no other companies are doing it. So then it makes us look like our prices have just gone through the roof when all we did was actually just add in things that everybody was asking for and to make it a standard. But then when you compare with other companies, like they'll say from, and it'll look like ours is way higher than theirs, but we've already put those things in. So what we're going to do is come back to what the industry's doing, and then we'll still have
even in saying that, stuff like compost, like standard stuff that will come into our home.
Yes.
Compost toilets, standard. Fly screens, standard. Just stuff like this, that's all standard in our homes.
Yeah, so they were always standard,
but
we were adding more things in as standard.
Built-in laundries and
lamy like all the things that other people say, oh, that's extra, or we put more lights in it, we put more PowerPoints in it, things like that as standard, and that won't change. So I think we're just going to, like the cafe window that we put in then as standard, but everybody else has an extra. It was making people confused. So we're actually going to simplify it back down to our model price is right down here, because there's a lot of people who just really want a standard home. They don't want to put anything else in. And that way you don't have to have it. So I think that's probably a good thing. Let us know what you think anyway. If you're thinking about going ahead this year, let us know what you think on that. So
we've definitely got to keep our homes affordable, because
that was the whole reason
we actually got into tiny homes in the first place was to create affordable housing. Even though we were sort of appealing to the masses because they wanted all these bells and whistles, but what was happening, we were leaving behind the people that had a tight budget, and we don't want to price ourselves out of the market. So we're going to...
the other thing that I've noticed, because I've been on holidays, been able to watch a bit more of the commenting on social media, and on the spec build that's gone up and that we've styled, and people, oh, this is the best one yet, I love this one so much. What I actually think is, because it's actually it looks like a home, it's got furniture in it. Is that right? Like when you look at something on Instagram and Facebook and you see all the beautiful bits and pieces, that's what catches your eye. You're not 100% looking at the design, you're just looking at the flow, the furniture looks good, the colours look good, oh, I like those stools, like things like that. So all of the homes we've built last year are all unreal, but they weren't furnished.
That's right.
So as lovely as they look, they still start to look the same because they just are... people want to see what you can fit into it. So that's why it's... So I would like this year for my part in the company to do a little bit more of that. So actually having more that are available for sale, but they're all finished. We put furniture in and you buy the whole thing. So...
and you go, all right, Dar, I'll tell you, I'm really happy with the stuff you furnish stuff, Dar.
Oh, thanks.
Looks pretty flash, I've got to say.
Well, we try to still keep it to a budget though. So the one that you've seen, that's all like a mid-century modern look. Everybody obviously likes it because it's been one of the most popular to date. We've got a lot of interest on that one that's for sale. It's still for sale, but there are some serious inquiry now. So, yeah, so there's people that Libby's saying, I've got a tight budget, so I'd prefer to be able to pick one or two extras.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
that's great. That's great feedback. Thank you, because that's sort of what we were thinking too. Furnishing them is tricky to find furniture that actually fits. Well, thank you, Amy, because that was another thing we were thinking about is actually once our showroom gets up and running again on the display village, which we'll talk about that in a second, we will have product that is perfect for tiny home living. So we're really focusing on, if we can't find it, we'll design something. So baskets that fit in under stairs and lots of things that we will look for you, whether you buy from us or not. But if you're in the tiny house industry, you'll be able to come to our aftermarket showroom and pick up things that will fit into your tiny home for storage and for, just really, things that will fit in there.
Compost toilets, decks and awnings, solar packages. So there's lots of different things that people will look for that they find it hard to actually get in the open, or they don't know where to find it.
Yeah.
Find the stuff,
We haven't named the latest spec build model because we were just building that to sell.
Yeah.
So it was a one-off, so we weren't going to name it.
It was a one-off. We're just going to check out the interest to see
Yeah.
if the interest was there to sort of push on with sort of a design along those lines.
Something like it. Not
yeah.
exactly the same. I think,
yeah.
there's things
we can
every
do.
time we think, we could do this better or change that or whatever. So
People were, I think, because I asked some people the other day,
what's the main thing?
When you've walked up this home, everyone just said, wow, I love this home. This is the best ever.
Yeah.
And I asked them, okay, what was it that struck you?
Yeah.
A couple of things. Firstly, when they walked into the home, we had a big 3.6 metre stack of doors. Okay, so we cracked the whole thing open. That was huge.
Yeah.
The next thing was when you walk into the home, you had a 4 metre ceiling height.
Yes. So the atrium.
The atrium
through
looks,
the lounge.
Exactly, and then you, of course you had your 2 massive windows. That was huge
And they were placed lower down. So I don't know if you picked that up, but we've put them lower so they actually the back of the lounge just sits above the windowsill.
Yeah.
So it actually you can see more of the landscape down further. Normally with a window you're looking out and up. This way you're actually looking towards the ground. So I really like that.
Really
I think that's
stuff.
a big one.
Yeah. So lots of positive feedback from that home. So
we put some, pretty nice nicer lights than the standard lights. But our standard lights are nice, but we've, but that all costs money. So it's just what your budget is. So. Okay. Oh, great. Thanks, Sandy. If we're not open on a day, Sandy, where your friend wants to come and look at that spec build, just give Rick a ring and he'll open up. That's no problem at all.
Yeah, we just to give people an idea of our open times. Even though Stu will be with us 5 days a week, Mondays he's just flat out doing contracts and customer relations, client liaisons, and all that sort of stuff. So the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 12 till 4, and Friday from 10 till 4.
Yes.
And
then
weekends by appointment.
That's right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
if you
we
want to pop in on
it.
a weekend, we can do it.
Yeah.
You might take me away from my cows, but that's all right.
and once this aftermarket showroom is up and running, then we'll have Saturdays.
Yeah.
It might not be every Saturday, but we'll be open on some Saturdays as well.
For sure.
We've got kids' sports and things. We've still got family stuff going on. So, okay, can we pick up our own tiny home?
For sure, depending on the weight. If it's one of our smaller models, our Bow River or the Tucker's Rest, they're only about 2.5 tonne, so it's easy to tow with a normal four-wheel drive. Okay, so they're easy. On the larger homes, 4.5 tonne, you need to have obviously the appropriate towing vehicle, which will be at least a 4.5, 5 tonne truck. Of course, then you just need a truck licence to be able to drive the truck. You don't need a special licence to tow the tiny home, but we'll get you set up with all the right flags and signage and flashing lights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you don't need a permit, just need to have, it's all self-regulated. So yes, you can tow your own tiny home to save yourself some freight. I mean, if you might be up in, say, Brisbane, might be 1,000 k's away, it's obviously going to be a lot more cost effective if you have a truck licence to rent a truck. You don't have to own the truck, just rent a truck for a couple of days, drive it down, pick up the tiny home, and then drive it back. Okay, so you will save quite a considerable amount of money doing that because it's your own time and you've rented a truck. So it's a lot more cost effective if you can do that. So
you have to have your own travel insurance. So we cover the tiny home from our factory to your gate, and then your insurance will go from there. So we have a transit insurance that covers us moving the home.
Basically to your gate,
to the gate. So, and what was I going to say about that? Oh, and it was in April or May this year where we've just ordered a new truck.
Oh,
so
the poor man's Dodge Ram. Woo, damn, as it turns out, it's cost more than a bloody Dodge Ram. But anyway, that's another story. But so it's four-wheel drive.
Yeah, so it's a four-wheel drive one, so we shouldn't have the problem getting bogged this
so
year.
it should be a lot better for the deliveries. However, it will be basically the price to the gate. If it's just a simple drive into the property, no problem, there'll be no extra fee. However, if we're going to go into four-wheel drive and we've got to start four-wheel drive across paddocks.
We had a situation just in the last, through the holidays, where we were moving a client from one location to another, and we pick up from the gate. So the house has to be at the gate, ready to go, packed up, everything out, ready to go. And when our driver got there, the home was still down in a paddock, and so he had 7 hours waiting time. So that's not on us, that's on the client because they were not ready when we got there to do it. So,
and that's just to help everyone so no one stresses. We're just, because especially the existing truck, it's only a single axle with a normal slip diff. So it doesn't have a lock diff even, so we can't tow out a bog or anything like that. So
and we've seen a lot of horror stories of people getting bogged with their tiny homes in paddocks this last year. I've bought a small block of land in a residential estate. Can I put a tiny home on it? Ooh,
we sort of touched, we did speak about that a little bit earlier on about getting our homes can be approved as homes. The beauty of getting one of our tiny homes approved, because all the blocks of land, if everyone noticed, are getting smaller and smaller. Some of these blocks are only 300 square metres.
It would be so good for councils to say, on those blocks where it's a corner block or something and they really don't have, it's, tiny, why aren't they saying, well, that could be a perfect tiny home block. Let's leave that one for a tiny house. But it's up to us to tell them that that's what we want. So I see you can stand up in your upstairs lofts. How can you do it and others can't? Yeah,
we sort of touched upon this earlier. Our homes, if people that have been following us for a while, we have the home itself is detachable from the trailer, which means then on the road, on the highways, we're classified as a registered trailer carrying an oversized load. Hence, we're wider than 2.4 metres and we're higher than 4.3 metres. And because we're working into a larger building envelope than other tiny home builders, it means we've got more space. So in the defence of other tiny home builders, they're coming under the under the 4.3 metre limit and 2.5 metre width.
On their
the building
trailer
attached to the trailer.
Yes.
It's still registered and whatnot, so it complies on the road and stuff. And so do ours, but because it's a relocatable home.
As far as we know, because tiny home builders aren't really talking to each other that much yet, but as far as we know, the tiny home builders are not having their homes registered with a slip that says caravan.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of them are just getting blue slips. So
they're getting temporary permits or whatever, which is all good. That's all.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's all legal.
No problem. Yeah. But when people say you're not a caravan, well, they're not technically a caravan because they haven't registered as a caravan.
Yeah.
They've got a trailer that converts. It converts to a caravan trailer, is what it says on the registration papers. Yeah.
And there's things that to be a true definition of a caravan, obviously you've got to comply with the caravan regulations, which is highlights and there's lots of things. The doors have got to be on the passenger side. Heaps of stuff that's got to comply to the true definition of a caravan. But because our tiny homes is actually on the road, we're just a load. We don't need lights. The doors can be anywhere. So we don't have to comply.
Fred's Tiny House said that in Lucy Litch's Tiny House Conversations podcast, which is great if you don't listen to that, about that. He's like, he said, yes, we're all building under that legislation or that code because there isn't a tiny house code in Australia. So that's what we're building to. But at the end of the day, nobody is actually building a caravan except a caravan builder.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah, and even though we're classified as a caravan, because the definition of a caravan is a relocatable home on a registerable trailer. So the guys that are getting the blue slips, is still and got a VIN number.
Yes.
That's still a registerable trailer.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be
They might
registered.
give you a 3-month permit, or
yeah, sure.
There's different people are doing it different ways.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but they're all okay. It's all.
But I definitely would just
Make sure you've got a VIN number.
I think bit of advice for anyone buying a truck: just make sure they still do have a VIN number. You don't want to get caught out, because if a council officer gets really technical and it comes to your tiny home and it doesn't have a VIN number, well, it's not registerable. So you will get smashed. So just make sure they've got a VIN number and a blue slip, and you're happy days.
So we give you a registered trailer,
which will be registered in your name.
in your name. We do that before it gets delivered. So, what's the largest homes you build?
Well, in actual fact, we'll be building a 11-metre home very soon. It'll only be single level because of a weight. So single level home, 11 metres long, 3 metres wide. It'll comply once again with the road regulations and whatnot. It'll be coming in under 4.5 tonnes, but we can't go 2-storey obviously, because it's just when you go to that length, there's lots of things that get upgraded. The trailer sectional sizes, there's just heaps of stuff. But our trailer manufacturer has done a lot of homework, and basically I was hoping to bring into the marketplace a 6-ton trailer, but it basically can't happen. You just can't do it. There's lots of loopholes, even with air brakes. They just won't allow it because it hasn't been done before. And to actually get it done, our trailer manufacturer's got to spend 50 to 60 grand to all the tests and this and that and all the stuff. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. So that means our largest homes, we're just still got to comply with the current regulations, which is 4.5 tonnes, which means the homes have got to be, once you go longer and whatnot, got to be single level homes. And sometimes we may have to, some of the furnishings may have to be demountables that we put in actually on site rather than in the home when it gets delivered.
So tell us, leave a comment, or during the week, let us know what sorts of things would you like to see from us this year. A lot of people have said, yes, the dancers are back. That's awesome. We want to see the dancers. What other things? What can we bring you to help you on your tiny house journey? Or is there things like that you just want to know about us, about business stuff? Like, we are at your service. We want to make this a worthwhile chat on a Sunday, and we just love the interaction. So if you can think of something, myself and Storm, we're starting a bit of a blog on our website which talks more about the why of living simpler and that sort of thing. So we'll be doing a bit of that. Storm does her sourdough baking and things. So there'll be things about lifestyle rather than just tiny home posts. So, let us know if there's something you'd like to see from us, and we will be back next Sunday.
Yeah, and just before we close, how's that ab machine going, Dar?
Oh, did we tell you about the ab machine that he got for Christmas? I think we did.
No, I bought it, remember? You said,
that's right, sorry. He bought himself an ab machine, and he's been using it at night time.
Well,
while he lies in bed and eats chocolate.
I know there was going to be a revealing of the abs when we came back, but I lost 3 weeks because I realised I
gained 5 kilos.
No. Well, combination of the whiskey and the chocolate probably didn't help with that. But I realised because she had too many hairs on my stomach. Not that I'm heaps hairy, but the hairs kept the machine off my stomach. Oh, right. What happened was, anyway, I'm thinking, there's not much sort of go juice in this thing, So I'm thinking, so what I did, I actually shaved my guts, I shaved my guts. I thought I'd give this a go, and I bunged it on and thought I hit the go button, and I thought I nearly got bloody electrocuted. I just poof like that.
Time to wax. Yeah.
So this thing's happening.
Yeah.
But the funny thing was, and I'm thinking, check this out, darling, looking good, and she's going, give me a go. Anyway, so I said, right, here we go. And of course, she's got no hairs on her tummy. And I just hit the go button. I've just gone red line straight up. Bam! She says, get that crap off me.
I've had 4 children. I don't need to have contractions on my stomach anymore. I've done my time. Thanks very much. Someone just said, Vanjie, I think it was, said if you can build homes on skids that can be trucked interstate.
Yes. Yep.
So give us a call because I'm sure we'd be able to do something.
Yeah.
Do some more pole dancing, like you said.
Actually, yeah, Shani, she had a bit of a go at me. She said, I'm a bit worried about it. I said, what's that done? She said, some of these dances are getting a bit sexual. I said, when you see an old crony like me, old dinosaur, start doing some sort of a pole dance, I don't know how sexual that is.
What you don't see, all you young girls that think he might be a catch, let me tell you what you don't see, is that after he's gone down on the pole, his knees go out and he can't get back up again. So he's like, and then that night he's like, oh my gosh, I can't move. so if you're ready for a, late 50s fella that's
Get a bit long in the tooth.
then come and chat to me. See what we can work out.
Oh, dear.
Video manuals for the owners. Yes, Kobe, that's in the works. I'm sorry, that should have been done by now, but life. The pole dancing is hilarious. I was a bit worried he might hurt himself. Exactly. That's exactly
the rest of that afternoon, I did me knees in.
He had to take some anti-inflammatories when he got home. Poor old fella.
Oh dear.
You know what I love? What I love about my husband, he doesn't take himself seriously. And that is, we'll be married 33 years on Friday. Woo! And I tell you what, if you can't have a laugh at yourself and at each other, then give up now. Yeah. Because life's hard, You've got to have a sense of humour. All right, we'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
All right.